Hello, New York City Charter School new user. My name is Tracy Davey, and I'm the administrator of this program for the New York City Charter Data Collection Project. Here is our website, nyccharterdata.esboces.org. Please make us a favorite. Hopefully all of the resources and information that you need is right here on our website. Under the secure area, you can tap on, hover there and then tap on level 0 to get to the state education department's level 0 software. This is how data enters the ground floor of the data warehouse. In essence, it's similar to ATS. That's how data really gets started within the city's data systems to be forwarded to state education department. And then some of that data is shared with us from the DOE to be loaded into our level 0 software. And we'll save you the work of having to do that. On the home screen here will always be important announcements and information about the next deadline and what work template reporting you should be working on. And then we also have information about contacting us. If you're having trouble logging in, you've gotten your password wrong a couple times, please give us a call. If you get locked out, we can clear that, but we'll stay on the phone with you to make sure that you get logged in. If you have a continued difficulty, we'll have to clear the old password out and send you a link to recreate it. When that happens, that link is only valid for 15 minutes. So please give us a call when you have a few minutes and are at a device that you'll be able to reset the password at that time. There is a link here to use your security questions and whatnot also to get there. Try that first. Right here, you'll see the same message that is listed in L2RPT, the level 2 reporting system, where all the data that makes it through level 0 and ATS up to the state education department, warning you about your responsibilities for maintaining data privacy security, not sharing passwords and whatnot. You will see that every time you log in. What we didn't see here actually was the multi-factor authentication. Each day when you log in on a new browser or just switch browsers during the day, you will be required to receive a PIN via email that you need to enter on the screen. So I'm logged in as a sample, as a user of my sample school. This is all fake data. If you work at a network of schools, in this dropdown, you will see the name of each of your schools. It automatically opens to the current school year. It's showing your login. My login here is just Tracy, and how many people are logged in. So if you have 1, you've got the whole system to yourself. If it's 2 and it's 7 a.m., it's probably you and I in there. You know, just to give you an idea what that number is, you're not able to view the number of users. We can, as a staff, if ever we're rebooting a server because it's working a little slow, we'll contact you and let you know that you're about to get kicked out. We'll at least give you that quick warning. On the screen here, again, we have the same messages or similar to the beginning and quick contact information to get a hold of us. This is the best email to use. If any of us are out of the office or at a conference or just a long meeting, writing to this email address means that the 3 of us are able to see it. It's not just sitting in Tracy Davies' email that Bonnie and Jen cannot see. Across the screen, the main areas is this gray navigational bar across the top. It gives you the ability to do different functions. This first one is to electronically import data, and then you'll see the names of all the templates that we show and collect data for in level 0. It's actually an or in there. Manually input, you can enter individual records or load them in mass. Entering individual records, if you have less than 3 dozen of something to import, I definitely recommend doing it manually. It'll go really fast. L1 data prep, your data, as soon as you've loaded it or saved it on an individual screen in level 0, is always safe in level 0, but we cannot transfer it to level 1 of our data warehouse until it clears this path, the L1 data prep. Additional data quality rules will be applied at that point to make sure that the data is valid and ready to transfer. Once it clears level 0, it sits in level 1 of our data warehouse. Every week, we transfer that data to the Department of Education, who submits it every weekend to the State Department of Education. Reports, you can get various information on each template, and we'll come back and visit these in a little bit. Admin, I don't know that you'll see anything there at all. Under help, If you are working some evening, weekend, early morning, holiday, whatnot, and you need help, please hop over here. We have links to various resources that will hopefully help you with everything that you might be working on. And then you can log off. You'll get timed out after 15 minutes, but it's definitely good to shut it down. To get back to that home screen, just tap on the logo in the upper left-hand corner, and that basically works on every single website out there. Okay, and that'll be refreshed in just a second. Down to this main area, there are verification checks that you can run on the screen. You can also do it individually by template, and it automatically happens when you're at that L1 data prep process. Verification checks are looking for logic. Is the information that you reported logical? You can't report attendance for a student on a day that they're not enrolled because they're not enrolled. That's not logical. So that's what that's about. There are info checks, and this is just potential errors. We have a whole column here telling us there's a column for the verification errors. Info checks, we have 2 in the area of staff snapshot. These are teachers with mismatched names. The first name and the last name entered into level 0 do not match on a lookup for this. The teach ID that you reported, it has a different name attached to it. This is certainly possible, especially when it's just like a last name change because of a marriage or divorce or whatnot. And there's no obligation on you as a school to correct that. You just need to verify it's your staff person. Regarding a first and last name change, you'll just want to verify that it is your person. If not, you might want to call us. We are prepping now some directions on our website to help you do that, or else, to determine how to go from there. We do have the link back to our website because important information is there too. And specifically, if you do find that a teacher's name is not up to date with the state education department, only they can introduce themselves to the state again and correct that name. And there's no obligation for you to do that as a data coordinator. You just need to confirm that the staff that you're reporting in the software matches. Let's see, going down the screen, some fields might be highlighted either yellow or red based on, again, data checks that the software is doing. The state expects that during a school year, your staff snapshots will update. There's almost always someone new being hired or leaving a school throughout the school year, so that could very well be yellow. Attendance, I just reported that this morning for the first time in a couple of days or a week, at least within a month, that will go yellow and say, hey, you must have more attendance to report. Same thing, staff assignment. If anyone's changed, they want you to consider, do you have new data to add? So this is when data was imported electronically. This column is specific to when any record or records in level 0 were last updated by a manual edit or an electronic import. And the upload is when the L1 data prep was completed. So it will turn red when the state knows that you've loaded data, but you haven't completed the L1 data prep. And right, I've got some errors in my student daily attendance. I can't do my L1 data prep. It's going to fail when it does that logic check for verification errors. So that one's still red. Just to let you know, at Eastern Suffolk BOCES, we're watching for that. And when we see that you have errors, we will reach out periodically. We're not looking every day, but when we know there's a deadline on a particular template, then we will be looking and reaching out to you. This last column here lets you know that since the data was reported, at least one record was manually deleted. And at that time, you should also repeat an L1 data prep because we need to make sure that the state education department is no longer thinking that that's a valid record. You fixed it, right? Or you deleted it because it was erroneous. There are a couple of topics in here. So here's a count of all your valid records. The info count, these are potential warnings, right? I have 2 staff members with mismatched names, but the data for demographic, who are the students at your school, their names and their student IDs, OSIS numbers, and their actual enrollment. This data comes to us from DIIT, the Department of Instructional and Information Technology at the New York State Department of Education. And it comes in the back end of level 0. It's not being imported. As you can see, there's no, it is imported electronically still. But anyway, this information is doesn't necessarily meet the state's codes. The city has some unique codes that they use, and it's perfectly fine. You never ever have to worry about errors in these first two templates, the demographic or enrollment. Program fact, there are two types of records that we receive from the city regarding program fact. We know which student has been identified as homeless because we collect additional information for the DOE regarding whether or not that student, specifically each individual student who's homeless, benefits from a Title I Part A grant. And then also your English language learners. The city knows who's been identified as an English language learner based on a NYSATEL test, but we need to collect two additional pieces of information. We need to know whether or not the student receives the prescribed number of minutes of instruction per week and what type of instruction it is. Is it a dual language class, a transitional bilingual, ASL, or maybe someone doesn't actually get services. But we do need those additional pieces. Each of the other templates listed here, we also collect for the DOE to meet the requirements from the State Education Department as published in their Student Information Repository System Manual. And we will help you to do this report, complete this reporting. Electronic import, when you're ready to bring in data for a particular template, you would simply go to, I'm going to go to student daily attendance. It's for the most part, whenever you're on the screen, step 2 has the best default settings loaded. If you know that you had to make a correction to all of your student daily attendance and you want to delete all prior records and bring in the new stuff, then you would want to do a delete all. In general, you might only be loading a month at a time after each month closes, right? And then you would just load the data without deleting it. Then you queue up the file that you want, and it does a quick little check to make sure that it's in the right format. And then it validates the data to make sure that an import check on this import screen is looking to make sure that the right information is in the correct columns, the categories. Is literally a cutout template and the right pieces have to be in the right places. For student daily attendance only, because those files can be so big, it's one record for every student on every day of school. So if you have 100 students at your school, that's 18,000 records. We need to, the software only allows one person for the whole software to load that data at a time to do that validation. So if you're here and you've just done these first couple buttons and it's red because some other school is loading it, just wait a couple of seconds and then hit it on your screen when you see it go green again. In June, early July, it might take more than a few seconds, but it's going to be pretty quick most times. Then if you have any errors, you'll have a link to be able to jump out and see what they are. Again, we can go back to the home screen and see what errors might have happened on the import. And I didn't have any import errors, but I have verification errors. Everything in level 0 that is underlined is a hyperlink to drill down to additional information. From here, I can go to the report screen for daily attendance, but if I want to jump directly to the verification errors, I can tap there. Another way to get to that same place, just like you take 2 trains to get to different places in the city, you can also go to reports and choose that template, and this brings you the report screen. It would automatically open any import errors if there were some in that template. A district summary is useful. If you work at a network, you would see all 5 of your schools listed right here, and you'd see basic information about whether or not you have errors at them, when things were loaded last, and if there was any deletes. Otherwise, you can look at your individual school and jump to the actual data. Tap on your school name and see a list of all the data. Then you can see an import log. Bonnie did some before. We're at student daily attendance. That was upload. That's the one time that the data did clear the L1 data prep. Import log is how many times records were updated, what the record counts were, and whatnot. So this is my play one. The Tracy Davy is my actual real account. I don't use that for demos because I can see all schools. On the screen, if you fix an error, it's possible that you want to run your verification again. You can just tap on that button to let that fly and see if you've improved it. Again, there is a ready to validate, and it might turn red if someone else is doing that same process at that time. You can jump directly to that screen to see them again. If you were to call us for help, I have errors in something, any template, and you want help discerning what to do, the first thing that my team and I will do is to look at the distinct errors. We're going to want to see what the issues are. We have a couple of individual situations. Someone has attendance on a couple things on a non-instructional day. This one is one single student on the 10th. If we look at the calendar, we see that that's a Saturday. We'll have to, like, maybe that was a 2-day suspension. They accidentally put on a Friday and Saturday. You'd need to move it to Monday. In this case, the school opened up in August before the DOE did. Every school is pre-populated with the city calendar to be adjusted and customized for your school. So they need to make sure that their day calendar is updated. Once they add the 30th of August as an instructional day, 143 records will clear, instantly. And then there are some cases where students do not have an enrollment on a particular day. This is probably an example of students who enrolled late. Maybe you had a list of all your school days and you populated the whole thing without realizing that you accidentally put in positive attendance for students on days before their enrollment actually started. So you need to check what's going on and what happened. Errors in level 0 can be cleared right here, but it would be important to change them in your student management system. If you realize that you have some attendance errors for kiddos here, but you use PowerSchool to create report cards and attendance reports, again, you need to make sure that you go back to PowerSchool and update them so the reports to families goes perfectly. If you have one of these 5 software systems, the software has the ability to export data that is perfectly ready for import to level 0. Alma, PowerSchool, Infinite Campus, School Tool, and eSchool Data. Those 5 systems should have a button. I know they do. They have a button that if all of your setup work is done and everything is mapped correctly, then you can download the data to load directly into level 0. A nice thing about level 0, especially in attendance, for the most part, there are some basic processes, definitely seeing import and upload information. The school summary is all the same page after page for any template when you go through reports. But for attendance, you can see missing. So we could actually look and see if anyone is missing attendance on that day. So here we missed the 7th. We loaded data on the 8th, but not on the 7th. And then there's probably other days in between that also need data reported. That might cue you back to go back to your software system and see maybe you missed a whole month. Good information to look at, and you can always call us for additional help. Back on the home screen, what else can I show you? At any time, you can review information about yourself in your account. You can change your password right here. You can change your security questions. When you first created the account, right, you had to look at your email address. If your email address changes, you might definitely not even be able to log in if you can't see the multi-factor PIN code that goes out to you. You'll update it here. And then also, although you could tell the system to send you a PIN on the next login, we do have that set up to do it daily because that's the best practice for data privacy and security. Under the reports section, there's some cool information you can see. Various reports on different templates. I'm just going to show you one example. If you go to Staff Snapshot and run the report, here's where it's flagging for us that for this case, the last name is wrong. So you'd want, you have to consider, is my staff person, Tracy Kelly, was she Tracy Davy when she first got identified with the state education department as a certified teacher? And then for this staff person, they have named test one, but it goes to some other person. So the question is that my staff person, or did I actually just hit the wrong number on the keypad as I was entering their teach ID? Also under info reports, you can download the full data. So we could look at a particular template and just download the data. It's just a pure data dump. If you wanted to see what was in level 0, you can grab that. That actually might be helpful because you could still grab even your demographic information and get a quick listing of your students, their IDs, birthdays, and whatnot. Secondly, here are some data quality reports. I'm going to take a look at my day calendar. This is a nice one to review. So we're going to see a summary. Whoops, I just have to tap correctly for my sample school. And it's showing me, so I have students enrolled in grades 3, 6, 7, and 8. And in my data, so I have nothing. It's flagged yellow, like, uh-oh, is this correct? You don't have any instructional days for just grade 3, just grade 6, you know, because I use all. I have 180 days for all students and I'm all set. It actually shows a summary of how many holidays, emergency days, and whatnot. The 180-day number is set here because that is the standard expected by the state education department. If your school's requirement is that you have 190 days of school, you can enter that, and then it should, I'm going to save my custom flag points. Now it's warning me that I haven't met my own organizational limit, or minimum, right? I need to go back and check and make sure that this calendar matches our actual school calendar for the building. Also under reports, you can jump back to the dashboard or again, tap up here. Let's see what else would be good to know on this area. You can, under manual input, if you need information about a particular student, we can just look at demographics and you can search by a name and find information. Here's one. If you knew a student, you were looking for information on a student, their last name started with Gold, and you did an asterisk after it, whether it was Goldman, Golden, or any other combination of the word GOLD, that would bring up all those students with that last name starting with this. When you are on any individual student, you're able to jump around between their enrollment and demographics. If they have any program services, you would see it there. And then as you add information about students, you can jump into those other templates. I'm going to go to reports and just look at enrollment. This would be an interesting one to check for you. And I'm going to go to the district summary. This is really cool because if you look at this and you're thinking like, wait a minute, how do I have a third grader in my middle school? You know, there might be something wrong with that enrollment. So enrollment data comes to us from the City Department of Education based on ATS, right? So if you see something like this, you're going to want to go back and look and say, who's this kiddo in third grade, and make sure that that enrollment is correct or the grade level is correct. Grade 13 and grade 14 are real. These are students that have been identified as alternate assessment and do not need to take, you know, any 3 through 8 or high school Regents tests. It's important that they are flagged in the data warehouse as such, because otherwise those students will be included in counts for whether or not they participate in attendance, but not attendance, in accountability for testing in the, you know, participation rates for your school. Now, although you may refer to those individuals as a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader at your building, they will be listed here as 13. And in some instances, especially the day calendar, like if school opened and only 6th graders got the building for a day, and you enroll, you know, you created a day calendar event record for that one single day for just 6th graders, but you have some students who are flagged as grade 13 in grade 6, you'd need to make sure that that day also includes grade 13. This is just a great place to look to see what the actual information in the background about your students in your school is in level 0. Every time that you save data, whether it's an electronic import or any manual record, the data is safe in level 0, but to move it to level 1 of our data warehouse to be transferred to the City Department of Education for submission to the State Education Department, it must clear the level 1 data prep process. So after you've loaded data, you would go to that template that you've loaded data for. It's warning me on this screen, right? It's red. It's saying, Tracy, you've loaded data, but you haven't locked it since you've either made a delete or loaded data last. So I would go to validate now. And then it warns me, whoop, we did the validation, we found some errors, go back and check them. I would go to reports, go to courses, I hit program fact by mistake, courses, and look at my school summary to see what the problem might be. I can run my verification there. All right, I think I must have a code wrong in the background. I definitely need to find that before my data will lock. If you are in a situation like this and you don't know what to do, please call us, we'll be glad to help you. Let's see. I think that's basically it. How to maneuver around level 0, and don't be shy. Call us when you need us. We mean that most sincerely too. Thank you.